ridiculous water bottle.
It looks better like that because you're.
Yeah, looks like you got kind of angry and took it out on the bottle. Somebody had a hot take you didn't like.
Yeah.
No.
We just did hot takes yesterday.
Oh man.
On Eat Sleep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mine was apparently too hot.
Ooh. What was it?
Just that Duke Johnson's going to do really good in PPR.
Man.
People forgot about Duke Johnson.
No, I'm on board with you, bro, for sure.
It was hotter than that, but I don't want to say.
Oh, okay.
You guys are going to judge me?
He's going to be an RB1?
No.
Save it for the show. I'll ask you.
No, please don't do that. We have a group chat with all of our writers and the podcasters as well, and it was the entire day of just everyone like going opposite of me, and I understand that because it's why it's a hot take, but
for sure.
But I said Duke Johnson was going to outscore Danny Woodhead in PPR.
Man,
that was the hot take.
Is what?
Going to outscore Danny Woodhead in PPR.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I'm on board with you, bro, for sure. especially the news of Flacco today.
Yeah, dude, they've had a lot of injuries, but the fact that Kenneth Dixon was then, ruled to be out for the season afterwards did not help.
For sure.
Oh God, no.
What's up, John?
What up, though?
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Not bad. How are you guys this evening?
Good. Thank you for bringing the energy.
We'll see how it goes. It's been a long day, but I am incredibly happy to see you guys and to meet you guys. I don't think I've met either one of you guys, so this is good stuff.
Christian here, in case it doesn't say the name because I don't know.
Well, it says eat.sleep, so I figured I was equating that with just how you live.
Oh, word. What does it say on mine?
It just says FF, so I guess you just don't give two Fs.
No. I used to give an F. Now I give an F less.
I think of success.
Pablo, though. You can call me Fugazi, Pablo, whatever.
Pablo. All right, good deal.
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm John Michael.
John Michael.
J Mike, as Gabe has coined and got the train going.
Ooh, I like that.
That's right.
J Mike.
Good stuff.
Yes.
All right, we're live. I'm gonna get us rolling. So
Let's do it.
It's cute. It's cute with your old little interactions, but calm down. All right.
Nice.
Hopefully Clint will join us shortly. We'll be all right. All right. Welcome into the Dynasty Happy Hour Open Bar. We're here. We're drinking beers, and the liquor is clear. I'm just trying. I don't know. Just trying to drop rhymes right now, and it's really not working. Welcome in, fellas. We've got a couple new faces into the open bar. You know how it is, though. In the open bar, we seat every single person. We will, even if you're drinking that apple teeny, Christian, I'm talking to you.
Oh, shit.
I'm playing, man, bro. I should have given you a proper introduction.
I don't know what's wrong with that, because we have this standard where men are not allowed to order fruity drinks, but they're delicious, okay? All right?
Here.
Drink them at home, and then when you go out, you drink the beers.
Non-fruity things.
Right. And pretend like you don't enjoy a margarita.
I feel like that's going to become like a less popular dig on people, like the apple teeny, getting it again. It's like, but everyone drinks those now, so I'm not.
It's like, shut up, fool! It's delicious.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, all tough. Like, what's up? I love it. All right, well, we got a couple here. I kind of mentioned Christian already from Eat Sleep Fantasy. How you doing, brother?
Very good. That's a little bit better of an introduction, but the first one was pretty good as well. So I don't mind.
I'm sorry. We're just back and forth on the open bar, and kind of first time meeting you and interacting with you. So glad we can do it. You know, that's how bars work. That is the bar setting, I suppose, huh?
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So what's like the line where then it's not okay? If a fruit is in the drink, like
Yeah.
if it comes with like a piece of pineapple on the brim, then it's not okay.
I don't see.
I'm cool with it.
I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with this a slice of fruit on there. But I mean, I've seen some crazy things. Like I follow a few of the cocktail sites on Twitter. One being like liquor.com. Shout out to liquor.com. We're trying to get our
Shout out.
sponsorship on the open bar. That would be a perfect sponsorship. Like, where are you now? But yeah, and I saw like, craziest, fruitiest drinks for when you're on the beach or whatever. And this shit had like all sorts of fruit. They had like, like papaya and jackfruit and like oranges. I mean, it was basically just a cabana cocktail, like 100%. So that was over the top. But I mean, I don't know, if you have a slice of fruit or two, like what's the issue?
Yeah. I'm a simple man. Just give me like a rum and Coke and I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I don't drink much of the fruity drinks, to be honest. I'm more of a cocktail connoisseur, but I like beer too. What are you drinking tonight, Chris?
That is
Christian,
water
sorry.
because it is 9:45 East Coast here, and I work early in the morning, so I can't start drinking at 9:45 at night because then I won't work tomorrow.
We say turn down for what? Turn down for work. That's
work.
That's right.
Although,
Yeah.
I could be lying. This could be just vodka in here, and I'm just getting hammered behind the mic.
Yes.
You'd be one of those teachers that bring their like cup of coffee or their cup of tea to school, and then in that bottom cabinet they pull out the vodka and they're just like look.
Right. Or just a little flask outside and just pour it straight into the coffee.
Man, have y'all seen like what they make for flasks now? Like there is literally everything for a flask. Like I did this for my bachelor party a couple years ago, and my buddy just brought it to another bachelor party last weekend. But we got these I shouldn't say this out loud so we don't get snitched on, but they're sunscreen bottles, and they look like sunscreen, but it's a flask 100%. And so like at the bachelor party, we're in the pool with these sunscreen flasks and we're just like chugging sunscreen like it's bench warmers.
That's when they should have just drug tested you guys. Like, who in the world drinks out of a suntan lotion bottle?
Yeah.
You guys out of here. Good grief.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just saw one today it was a purse, but it was like wasn't a purse. It was entirely for a bag of wine. So like shout out to Franzia Frank, Dynasty Frank that is, but that's his real name is Franzia Frank. You just open this spout up and just out comes the wine, So it's, I don't know. It's 2017, y'all.
Yeah.
Let's get through all the other introductions.
That really went off on a tangent, but that makes sense.
Really
Like
did.
week 7, when everybody's gone down with injury and you need a giant bag of alcohol with you. So that makes sense.
Oh my God. I'm still like hurting over, what was it, like week 2 from last year? All those people that went down, like it was just like flies, man. It was nuts. So who else we got? We got Fugazi. Now
Yes,
there's
sir.
a couple. Clint was mentioning this to me. I was talking to him earlier, and I said we got Fugazi on tonight, and he's like, "Which Fugazi?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? There's one Fugazi."
There's 2.
And,
So there's Christopher,
I know.
who's
Yeah,
at Fugazi Life, and I am FF_Fugazi. We like to joke around and say that we're cousins. It's a good time.
do you have anything to say to Chris about like who the real?
Man. He's the man. Like if anyone ever asks which Fugazi should I follow, I point to him. Like he's legit for sure.
True. I agree. I follow him too.
I mean, I talked to him about, should I change my name or my handle? And he's like, no, you got to keep it now. Like it's too late now. You got to keep it. We're cousins. Like, okay.
Fugazi bros. That's good. That's good.
For sure.
All right. Well, now that we've lined out the correct Fugazi, let me introduce my co-host, the J Mike.
What?
You can find him at J Mike Check. How's it going, man?
Absolutely wonderful, fantabulous, fantastic. Pretty excited, and I have to get started. I have a mea culpa. I have a confession. Last week was doing a whole lot of mess talking about the fact that, hey, you know, not the biggest fan of fruits in my drink and this, that, and the third. And I totally forgot the fact that I'm a huge, huge fan of hard ciders. So all that mess that I was saying last week about fruit in the drink, just y'all gonna have to forgive me. I completely forgot the fact that I love those. Love a good Angry Orchard. Love a good Reds. So yeah, my bad, guys. I was talking out of my neck. Won't happen again.
Those are tasty. Those are like adult juice.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. That should be like there's a difference between like a fruity cocktail and a cider for sure. I mean,
Right.
there's
Absolutely.
like, I don't know. You can just throw a bunch of like fruit and then add vodka and it's like a cocktail. But like cider, you know, it takes some work and that it does taste good. I mean,
Right.
So tonight loaded up the Not Your Father's root beer.
Nice.
Not sure
Very
if you guys
good.
have had that, but pretty
Right.
I have had
tasty
that.
beverage. Very
Mhm.
tasty beverage. So if you haven't, check it out.
Yeah, I have had that before. And and you know what? I've heard of mixing it with things before too. I think, or maybe I don't know. You know, I don't know. That
Just sounds way too complicated.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't get into that. It's I've already started talking about drinking
Root
sunscreen and
beer,
stuff.
alcohol.
I
We don't
better
need to
just
do a whole
sit
bunch
back.
else other than that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good call.
Just
So
careful
how-
mixing
so
the
how's everyone
alcohol
doing?
and the drafting. Like that's a problem.
Without a
Oh
doubt.
my goodness.
Yep.
You know, a good
Just-
way to ruin your season? Get tore down before your draft. Terrible.
Right. That's how you end up drafting Paul Richardson, like I did a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
I still remember last year drafting a fellow Seahawk and Thomas Rawls completely off of him, but he just kept falling and falling, and I was like, sure, 7th round, yeah, you know, no, shouldn't have done that.
Sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That happens. That happened to me a couple weeks ago. Actually, we did this draft when we went to Dallas. We went to Go NFFC, which is like the fantasy football convention that they held for the first time in Dallas this year. And we did like a little draft with a bunch of people in Dallas. And the more beers I drank, the more I was like, fuck it, I'll draft another risky player. So I ended up with like Keenan Allen and Alshon Jeffrey, and every single person on my team is like a huge injury risk. You got Cam Newton and Jimmy Graham, and like it's just, if everybody hits, sure, yeah, I'll finish first, but there's no way everybody stays healthy this year from my team.
Just flush the toilet now. Just flush the toilet now.
I love the team. I just need everyone to stay healthy,
Yeah.
which is not going to happen. I mean, Keenan Allen's going to get hurt in week 2 again.
Oh, that'd be the saddest.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
what is the
Yeah.
all injury team at this point? I mean, you got Keenan Allen, like you said there. Sammy's got to be on there.
If we go hot off the presses, you got to have Flacco as a QB, right?
word.
Flacco.
He had the
Absolutely.
ACL a couple years ago, and now they're back.
Side note: everybody in here needs to go listen to the Open Bar.
Looks
Good
like
sign.
Clint's voxing right now, but he's not even on. He's just completely throwing us away, and he's just voxing in Open Bar.
Somebody tell Clint don't box and drive. Not a good look.
Yeah, we're gonna do a live vox right now. Hey, yo, Clint, we're on the Dynasty Happy Hour Open Bar right now, and we're just kind of wondering, like, if you're gonna show up. Like, I've been stood up way too many times in my past, my dude, and I can't handle it again. Okay, get your ass onto Dynasty Happy Hour Open Bar. Okay. All right. Now that that's cleared up, let's talk about some injuries, because there has been some injuries today. You know,
Yeah.
okay, guys. can we start with this one? This is my dude, my man. I've been touting him for too long, and I feel like anyone have that ASPCA music with the Sarah McLachlan?
I got you.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can just sing that in the background too, like while I'm here, like. So,
You picture one of them dogs looking like it.
while I do this soliloquy.
For 70 cents a day, you can sponsor it.
Yeah.
You can't help but shed a couple tears.
Do you guys change the channel when that happens?
Oh no, I grabbed the box of
guilty
tissues.
doing it, but you
It's
still
really
do it.
hard to watch.
I grabbed some Kleenex. Just take it in.
It's always a pit bull.
What do you? Oh yeah.
Right.
Get to it,
Yeah.
Gabe. Go ahead and get to
I'm
it.
so sorry.
Stop
alright.
prolonging your sadness, Gabe.
I was kind of hoping that we could get away from it for a while
Sorry.
and start talking about Sarah McLachlan or something.
Somebody
but-
get the trumpet and the taps, and Gabe get to it.
Okay. Well, Kenneth Dixon. My man. Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns.
I thought he went to Louisiana Tech.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Heck.
My boy.
We go way back.
We go way back. Yeah. Oh my god, that's funny. I don't know why I was thinking that. Louisiana Tech, Raging Cajuns, Kenneth Dixon. No man, I've been on him for so long. I'm like, take him over Zeke. No, I didn't take it. I didn't take it that far. But I was in it, man. It was a great landing spot, and I was excited, even though with the suspension and everything. And he's got the torn meniscus. So seems like, anyways, I mean, that's over. We don't really need to talk about that as much, besides the fact that you should buy low because he's going to be an elite RB1 next year. Don't worry about it. What happens next? A lot of arguments about who's going to be what. So what say you three?
I'm backing off. I'm staying away.
I wasn't sure who was going to start there.
I don't. When it's that crazy, when it's like that complicated, I just like pass it off and let somebody else take that risk. I like his athletic ability, but I'm not gonna wait. You know, he could end up never being anything now.
When it comes to, because obviously with the dynasty roster, hopefully you're in the league with an IR spot. I guess you can have him there for now, for the time being. But what happens when, like we were just talking about, unfortunately, if Keenan Allen goes down or something of that nature, you got one IR spot. Is Kenneth Dixon a guy that you're willing to wait on, particularly as it pertains to, you know, this is supposed to have been the year where, okay, we really see who this guy is, who this guy can be. The Ravens believe in him. Now this is going to be 2 straight years of pretty much a disappointment of not seeing what we thought we'd have. So is he worth, in shallower leagues probably, 25-ish man rosters? Is it a guy worth keeping on your roster?
Probably not.
Yeah, it depends on, like you said, how deep your league is. If you're talking about like a 20-man roster, probably not. The deeper you go, of course, at some point the value becomes, okay, whatever, it's just another guy. But if I only got one IR spot, probably not. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather hold that for somebody that's going to have more value than Dixon. I was not a Dixon fan to begin with. This is a backfield that didn't really give him the full opportunity last year. I mean, and the guys behind him are not, explosive elite running backs anyways. They were looking to sign Bobby Rainey before this injury, and they finally did now with this injury. And you've got Terrence West there, you've got Buck Allen, you've just got a bunch of guys, and you're basically hoping Taliaferro, the undrafted rookie that they signed, Mizzle, I think is his name, and then you got Woodhead, who's going to be serving in in kind of that fullback pass catching role. It's a bunch of guys, and Woodhead is the pass catcher.
Yeah.
You think maybe West will emerge, Maybe Rainey will emerge, one of those guys, but I never saw Dixon as being a supreme talent. I just thought that he was going to get the first crack. And the one good thing about this team, now Flacco's hurt, but the one good thing about this team is that they do pass the ball a lot. They do dump the ball off to their running backs a lot, and that's a big plus. So I guess for Woodhead fans, that's great. The only problem is that he no longer has value anymore. He's going to be overdrafted, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. And really, that's I wasn't trying to ask about Kenneth Dixon when I was originally asking that question. I was more asking about West versus Woodhead or others that they might bring in, Rainey. And I actually didn't even know about the undrafted rookie there, Christian. So deep dive there. Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think like Woodhead's had that third overall in PPR. What was that? 2-3 years ago for the Chargers.
Right.
And I don't know, like, can we expect much more than that? Dude is like 33 years old. I mean, if you're taking Woodhead, I mean, Woodhead's probably going over ahead of Frank Gore. Like, who are you taking, Frank Gore or Danny Woodhead?
What's the format?
PPR.
I'd still rather have Woodhead. Like, I don't think his price is great. The only issue with Woodhead is it depends on how you want to play fantasy, because I'm a little bit more risky sometimes with some of these picks. If you want a guy who's going to get you consistent points and you're going to put him in your flex and you just need a little bit of points every week, Frank Gore's your guy. If you want a guy who's either going to do absolutely nothing that year, get hurt, not be involved, whatever, or be a top 12 running back in PPR, that's Danny Woodhead. He's done that twice now, that year that he finished third and the year that he finished 12th. So it's really about what Danny Woodhead you're going to get. That's kind of why I'm a big believer in guys like Doug Martin, right? Because it's kind of like you don't really know what you're going to get, but if he hits big. Danny Woodhead's that guy. I don't necessarily fully believe in it. I think there's better guys at better values, but he does have that upside.
I'm not sure if it's go ahead.
Nope. It's all you, J-Mac.
I was going to say, I'm not sure. Obviously, this is going to change quite a bit because Danny Woodhead's got a spike in ADP. I would imagine he will have a spike in ADP, but maybe not in Dynasty. I guess that's to be seen. 32-year-old, but right now, for the month of July, I'm showing Danny Woodhead as an ADP right now of 127.
And amongst running backs, he's
Dynasty or redraft.
So this is courtesy of Dynasty League Football. Okay. I'm not sure what number running back. I can try to search real quick, but I'm curious as to. I mean, obviously, like where at this point he's going to have the spike in ADP. Obviously, I feel like that's easy enough to say, but even from this point going forward, like outside of this year, are you expecting to get anything else from Woodhead? Moving forward from this point, if that's the case, or even Terrence West for that matter. Let's bring him into this because he might be the biggest beneficiary of all of them at this point.
So when Dixon went down yesterday, what I said on our pod was that the Ravens were going to try to go out and sign someone else. I didn't know that Rainey would be that guy. It's a little disappointing that that's the guy that they went out after. It's like, hey, here, we have a bunch of scrubs. Let's add one more. So that's basically what they did. But
shout out to the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky.
All right. We're just naming random schools today. Shout out to Indiana Lafayette. Shout out to Florida Gulf Coast University, everybody.
Yes. Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't think any of these guys have value after next year. 32 years old, Woodhead. I'm on the fence about him. Like I think he'll be productive enough, but I think he's not going to be of value. And in fantasy football, the way you win is by drafting values and by getting guys at prices that it's worthwhile and finding gems that could potentially be a boom for your team. Woodhead's price, like you said, is okay now. Give it a week. It's not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. So just real quick to jump on that, and you can go ahead, Fugazi. So Danny Woodhead in July ADP was running back number 38, and Terrence West, July ADP, running back number 62, just for a point of reference. And Terrence West is ADP 190 overall. So I mean, you're getting him. It's a deep.
Yeah. In that scenario, I'd just rather have West because he's going so much later.
Correct.
And especially now with Flacco out, they might try to lean on the run more. I don't know what they're going to do, but I would just rather wait and get West if he falls to me super low.
And they distribute their passes amongst their running back. At least they did last year. Everybody had catches.
Yeah.
Juszczyk, I don't know how to say his name, man. The fullback last year, I believe, had 37 catches. Dixon had 30. West had 33, if I'm not mistaken. Like, everybody was in the 30s. Yeah. This year, maybe you see two guys with, maybe West gets up to the 40s and Woodhead gets 55 catches, 60 catches if he's lucky. But it's going to be spread around more than people think. And I think West is the guy that is the better value at this point.
Agreed.
That's so interesting you bring that up real quick, and we don't have to linger on this much longer, Gabe, but I was curious because last night in the DHH box we had going, we were talking about, it was brought up just Jeremy Maclin, like, hey, how do we see Jeremy Maclin as a wide receiver too? Is that, the guy was asking, hey, am I crazy for thinking that Jeremy Maclin's wide receiver 2 upside? And just when you look at, and it was interesting, just when you look at everything that happened last season with Flacco throwing a career high in attempts of 672, which was just bonkers because the next highest was like 613. Like you guys were saying in terms of the running backs, like you said, West had 34 receptions, Dixon had 30, Forsett had 11. But then you have all these targets vacated by Pitta, 121 targets. Steve Smith, 101 targets. Kamar Aiken had 50 targets. So just in those guys alone, I mean, it's a ton of targets to be had. So you'd like to think that obviously Perriman steps up and other guys, but I think the Ravens, and obviously, I guess seeing what happens with Flacco, this could be a real just a stay away team altogether in terms of, hey, I don't want to fool with any of this right now.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Flacco will be back, but we saw the news today that he'll be out 3 to 6 weeks. But I mean, that should be about time for the start of the season. I would imagine they'd like to do that, but Flacco's really the best beneficiary here. Even though he's like the best finish he can make is like a top 12 QB, and then worst is like a top 20. And it's like nothing better than that. So in your super flex leagues, like that's your guy, I guess, if you want to just kind of have a mediocre dude from week to week. But it really is all of the Ravens. I mean, it's just a complete dumpster fire, and it seems like that every year because even their ADP, like wherever you're taking, like Jeremy Maclin is probably going to be close to a wide receiver 2 range. And it's like, okay, then why the hell am I taking him?
Right.
And taking, I guess Mike Wallace is probably a big discount, but I don't know if he can repeat that kind of thing. But, and in that chat, John, I was telling you, I posted that kind of visual for y'all. And I mean, the best finishes for a Ravens wide receiver is a wide receiver 2, like a top,
Right.
A top 16, 17 finish. Like it's just bad.
It speaks to
the ceiling
to me, the ineptitude.
low.
Yeah. It's Joe Flacco's not a good quarterback.
Well, he's elite, bro.
No, he's not. And here's why. Most people don't realize that the Ravens have led the league in pass attempts the past 2 years. Like, that's nuts. They've thrown the ball more than New Orleans the last 2 years. 679 pass attempts last year. Like, that's a lot. And yet, what are you getting? A wide receiver 2 or 3 is the best you can produce out of that. We'll see. I still think Macklin's being pretty underdrafted, though, as the clear one in my eyes. We'll see.
I mean,
he's going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, he
and he
will.
do that.
I mean, so how many targets do you? I mean, it's not necessarily a correlation between targets and where they land at the end of the year, but how many targets would you prefer for Macklin to have to get in that wide receiver 2 range?
What was the leader last year in targets for the Ravens?
Baltimore had it was 121 for Pitta.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 120 for him to be valuable.
Okay,
he's a pretty talented wide receiver who
super talented
was in a pretty crappy situation for
sure.
the past few years. So I think he's far and away the best wide receiver on that team. I know that Mike Wallace has still got a little bit of juice, and we'll get some of those deep shots from Flacco. But I think Macklin's far and away the better wide receiver here, and he will be productive enough to maybe be a borderline wide receiver 2. He's definitely not being drafted as it.
No.
Yeah, looking at fantasy football calculator right now for ADP in redraft at least, he's going as the 36th wide receiver in the 7th round. So I mean, technically that should be a value there.
Right.
Next guy is at Mike Wallace, 51st, and then Rashad Perriman at 61. So pick your poison, I guess. But
right.
I think I agree in the fact that Macklin would have the best chance, but I don't know. I think there's still some guys lower than Macklin that will put up wide receiver 2 numbers, to be honest.
Right.
A messy situation there to begin with.
And that was a really good the stat information that you had, Gabe, that you sent out to us last night in terms of what Baltimore wide receivers have done. What was that, since 2009 or so you had? I think the peak
since
was
Flacco was QB, yeah.
What was it? Steve Smith was the peak in terms of where wide receivers finished, and that was the year that he just went ham.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Aside from that, it's been, I mean, not to say they won't be valuable, but at this point, if you're saying Perriman takes a step forward, if you're saying Macklin stays healthy, and if you're saying Mike Wallace stays Mike Wallace, then all of a sudden you're looking at a lot of guys who are
it's
dying.
like, where's the juice?
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah. To top off the fact that last year was the first time in Flacco's entire career that he's thrown for over 4,000 yards, which is not a good benchmark in the NFL anymore. Like
No.
That's something that Eli Manning does every year. Like, that's not impressive, and that was the first time he's ever done it.
Wow. Nice of you to join the chat.
Shut
up. Clint?
Shut up.
Oh, snap.
Can I just kick you right away?
Oh, man, this guy's got a better beard than me. I'm intimidated.
That me? This dude's got a better beard than me.
I'm intimidated immediately.
Clint's in the house. What's happening, Clint?
Oh, just got done with work, so that's why I was late, and there we go.
Yeah!
Cheers to you, sir.
See, I didn't come prepared
Salud.
with the beer. I feel totally. I didn't read the name well.
Well,
You weren't
hold on.
Open
prepared.
bar.
Clint invited you, and you didn't. So I'm putting this on Clint right now. Why are you not telling people to drink during a podcast, a professional podcast that lots of professionals listen to?
There's no reason
Hey.
other than, I was doing like a million things today. I'm surprised I even got invites out to get people on here.
Yeah, it was appreciated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we got Eat Sleep Fantasy. We are eating none. We are sleeping none. We are fantasying a lot and drinking a minor amount, a respectable amount. See what happens. I might put my sunglasses on again like last week, but
Christian's DD tonight, so he's got us.
yeah, that's true. He's DD. We're good. Welcome, Clint. What are you drinking?
The same thing I drank last week. The
Mosaic.
Mosaic.
Hey, it was
All
good
right.
enough last week, so it's good enough this week.
Nice.
So at what point will we see you, not see you in your screen and just completely?
Oh, when I disappeared. Well, last week I had my kids here by myself, so I kept disappearing because I had to go handle, children. Shouldn't have to do that, but I do have a dog, so if he starts barking or whatever and I have to let him out, I'm the only one here. So If I disappear, it's not because I hate you, even though every time I left last week, it was like, well, I guess we offended Clint.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. We always disconnect from you at some point, whether it's internet or your mic or your headphones, and just like, it's like that. It's that Jay-Z meme, you know, when he's like, or that Jay-Z
it's like
GIF,
that.
rather.
What was it? Our third pod, whenever we were doing those together, and I was on mute for the entire ending. so our guest was like talking about how he was. I was trying to say, you know, I appreciate him and all that stuff, and just nothing. So you guys thought I wasn't saying anything at all, and I was just being a jerk or something. Anyway, yeah.
Basically.
Noobs.
Did you just say GIF, by the way?
Oh, we get to have this battle on the Dynasty Happy Hour Open Bar? Cool.
If I did, it's out of habit. I'm trying to change, but I can't.
It's not a change. You're saying it correctly if you said GIF.
No, it's not. What does the G stand for? Do you know what the G stands for?
Yes, graphic.
Graphics, not giraffics.
Welcome to Giraffic Park. Hey, look, I agree with you in the fact that it should be that, what is that? I'm such a ignorant English person. Is that a soft G or a hard G? I think it's a hard G when you say Gabe, GIF, giraffe. So, but anyways, what I'm saying is that the creator of the GIF came out like two. No.
Key unit.
Congratulations, we just lost all of our viewers.
Oh man, that would be great.
No, I'm serious. The creator of the GIF came out and said, "This is how you pronounce it," and he said GIF like the peanut butter, homie. I don't know why, but that's what it is.
He's also not an expert on the English language, so I don't think he's an authority to say how to pronounce words, but it's fine.
Look, I agree, but it's just the English language is nothing to mess with. I can't imagine trying to learn English as my second language. It is a mess.
True that.
Un desastre.
Checking out the YouTube chat. Shane writes, "GIF is a peanut butter."
Oh my goodness!
I like that, Shane.
That's pretty good.
Well, if we can get away from GIFs and GIFs for a minute to get back to some fantasy, Gabe, I want to play a game. Can we play a game?
Let's play it. Would you like to play a game?
A James.
Yeah. I want to play a game.
Yeah. Can we play a game real quick?
Speaking of, just random note, did you guys see the new Jigsaw trailer?
I heard it was.
I haven't seen it, but I stumbled upon it. Are they really? So what is it? Are they starting it over or what? What's going on?
I mean, I don't know if it's a case where they're starting it over or anything, but at this point, I don't know if they're trying to keep it going or keep it alive, but I love the first one. Like, just the thought through it and everything was fantastic. And I'm out now. Like, I'm not wanting to do this anymore. It's a little too much. Anyway, sorry.
Let it die.
The true Jigsaw is fantasy football. How about that segue? Go ahead, Jay.
I like it. Yes. So, real quick, I was thinking this week I wanted to play a game. I enjoy games, and I hope you guys enjoy games. And I've got a few names here. This game's called Dynasty Bar Tab. Dynasty Bar Tab. So, it's a pretty simple game. There's not really any winners or losers, unless you just hate yourself. Unless you just hate yourself at the end, then maybe this is just a spirited activity. Clint, is that better?
Sure,
my man. So, with that being said, so I've got some guys who essentially, with their ADPs, again, courtesy of Dynasty League Football, with the July ADPs, you basically have two options. I'm going to give you a name, and I'm going to give you their draft position. You guys will then tell me whether or not you want to leave the tab open. So if you're leaving the tab open, this means this is a guy that I want on my team. This is a guy that I will, cape for. He's my guy. This is what we're going to do. I'll trade for him, give whatever for him, I'll keep him. Or if you're going to close the tab, So you're either going to leave it open or you're going to close the tab. And if you close the tab, it's a guy that I'm trading away. It's a guy that I'm done with. I'm not buying in, all that. Does that make sense?
I like it.
Good stuff. So
Love
first, it. Want some more of it. So first name, and this is one that I feel like has gotten a lot of tread lately, is Mr. Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde, running back for San Francisco. Right now, his ADP is sitting at 50. Sorry, I just had it and it went away. He's sitting at ADP 55 for the month of July, and that's running back 18. So, Fugazi, we'll start with you.
No.
Leave the tab open or close it out. What are we doing with Carlos Hyde?
I'm going to close it out.
Oh.
I'm closing it.
Dunzo.
Gone. Dunzo.
Why is that?
Man, I mean, when they're in that fifth round, there's just guys I like there better, and I think I would rather find a Hyde believer and trade him away, or let him take him and get somebody I'd rather have. I think just the San Francisco offense. I know Shanahan's there, so everyone's all up about their offense being great, but I don't think they still are going to have Hoyer. I'm just not all in on that offense yet, and if Hyde stays there, I think it could be a mess. If he goes somewhere else, I mean, there's a lot of question marks. So at that price, I'd rather take somebody I prefer.
Christian, leave it open, close it out.
I'm gonna leave the tab open with Carlos Hyde. He's ranked 46 for me in a dynasty, and you said his ADP was what, 55?
Yes, sir.
So you're getting a little bit of a value here. We're talking about a team that's not going to be much worse than it was last year when Hyde had almost 1,000 yards. His thing is whether or not he's going to stay healthy. Never played a full season. So that's what you're betting on. And if for some reason San Francisco wants to be done with him, every other situation in the NFL is better. Every other situation in the NFL is better. So if he goes anywhere else, he'll be better than he was last year. And last year was a pretty good season on a very bad team.
Does Joe Williams scare you at all? Joe Williams, or even the Shanahan talk about how, or just the stuff coming out of camp about how.
What scares me more than anything is the Shanahan talk and the fact that they're saying, oh, he might get cut, he might get traded. I just don't like to hear that. And it's not necessarily Joe Williams. It's just I don't like to see players in the offseason have negative reports. Good reports, they mean squat. They don't mean anything in the offseason. But negative reports are something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
Good deal.
But I still think he's a value at this point where his ADP's at 55, a guy who has top 12 running back potential, as we saw last year, especially if he can stay healthy.
Good deal. What do you think, Clint? Leave it open, close it out.
All right. I'm leaving it open, but with this caveat.
That's not the game.
Listen.
You take your caveats and you go home, sir.
No. We've got to predict what's happening, right? We've got to look at the landscape. Okay. His ADP right now is 55. What's it going to be in 2 weeks? With all of the rumors of him possibly being cut. So here's the thing. If you buy him now, his ADP is going down. You're losing value. So if you're in a draft right now, or if you're looking to trade for him, wait just a little bit, because his ADP most likely will not go back up immediately. It's going to take that hit first. So wait for the hit to happen. Take that, then come in and buy low, because I think his ADP is going to dip. Right now, he's the 18th running back taken ADP-wise in DLF. I think Ty Montgomery, Tevin Coleman, Amir Abdullah, maybe even Alvin Kamara, CJ Procise. I don't know. It gets really murky after that. I mean, He's right there with all those, but I think Ty Montgomery, Tevin Coleman, Amir Abdullah could easily come ahead of him. And so he's going to drop, at least 4 spots running back wise. Mike Gillislee is only at 29 too. I think Gillislee could easily jump ahead of him. And so I want to keep it open, but I'm not buying right now because I want to buy when his value hits bottom. And that's when I want to go buy him, because like you said, I see his value going up. Even if San Francisco keeps him and plays Joe Williams ahead of him, I still think Hyde is too talented to just be done. Someone's going to get him. He's going to get cut or not re-signed. He's going to go somewhere else. And then you have the opportunity to have like a Marshawn Lynch kind of resurgence potentially. So I'm keeping the bar tab open for him with that slight caveat.
Did you say that Tymont is getting drafted after?
He's one spot after.
Correct.
He's actually
Okay.
59 at ADP instead of 55. So I think that's ridiculous. I think Ty Montgomery should be ahead of him because
Yeah,
he's.
I'm all in on Tymont over him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Montgomery isn't without questions. I mean, they drafted Jamal Williams, and a lot of people love him. But
Yeah.
Ty Montgomery's going to be the passing down guy, and Aaron Rodgers trusts him. So he's got some safety there. Carlos Hyde is in a clusterfuck of an organization. I mean, like, that's it. And you have the front office saying one thing, and it seems like the coaches are saying another, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
For sure.
But with that, you usually find value if the player is talented, and I believe Hyde has talent. That's why I want to keep it open.
I like it. I like it. Gabe, what say you?
Oh my God. Y'all ever heard of a Jersey? You ever heard of a Jersey Turnpike
Yep.
at the bar? Okay. What a Jersey Turnpike is you know those little rubber things that they pour drinks on top of and, like, you know, drinks splash into it or whatever? Okay. So you take all that shit and you pour it into one cocktail. So think of all those different liquors across the bar being poured into these little rubber mats as shares of Carlos Hyde. And I am ordering a New Jersey Turnpike because I want all the shares of Carlos Hyde. So I'm leaving that motherfucking tab open. I hope you stuck with me there. It went a long ways, but it makes sense. All right, look. I ain't scared of Joe Williams. Look, we're in the NFL. It's 2017 in the NFL. You need depth behind you at this point. I mean, Devontae Freeman has Tevin Coleman behind him. Tevin Coleman is very, very talented. All right, and they still both of them ended up as top 20 running backs in 2016. So, you know, you can say the whole narrative of it's the same coach, same offense kind of thing, but, you know, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Probably not with an unsuccessful team. But, I mean, I'm not a huge, like, yards per carry guy, but it has improved every year. He played 13 games last year. That's not awful. I mean, as far as guys who have missed a lot of games that people are in love with, LaShawn McCoy,
Amir Abdullah.
LaShawn McCoy. Yeah, Amir Abdullah is going around the same range, exactly. But and the thing about all the beat writers talking about this whole mess is it's nothing from the coaches. No one says it's never from the coaches. They're never saying that it's from directly from the source. And that's what I want to hear first before I jump off this train. Maybe it's a clue, but I don't know. It just I'd rather listen to coach speak in this situation, and it's not. So I'm 100% on Carlos Hyde. I think he can easily have a running back one season this year.
It's fake news.
100%.
Just to close out on Carlos Hyde for a second, and shout out to the person who's watching who shouted this out on the YouTube chat, and for pointing our attention to a tweet from Travis May from the other day. I think it was yesterday. Of course, it says Carlos Hyde, and Travis, you can find him on Twitter at @FF_TravisM. He says Carlos Hyde's cap hit for 2017 is about $1.1 million. The 49ers save approximately $900,000 against the cap, or 0.5% of the total cap if he's cut. So it's absolutely pointless for them to cut him unless they just absolutely hate him, similar to the way that Sean Payton hates Mark Ingram.
Well, and to throw more fuel to that fire, the San Francisco 49ers are like 40+ million under the cap. So why would they even want to save that marginal amount of money?
Right.
To cut the most talented player on offense to save that little money makes no sense at all.
Right.
Good deal. Moving on, because I feel like
I want to
Oh,
add
sorry.
one thing here because you said Mark Ingram and then now Carlos Hyde. It's the Tim Hightower effect. I don't know what he does, but he does that wherever he
He is
goes.
there.
Nice.
I think he's got Jedi mind tricks. You will hate your best running back. You will
I
hate
am the
your-
running back you're looking for.
Oh, it's good. All right, good deal. Moving on. This time we're picking up a wide receiver. Brian, this one's for you also in the YouTube chat. We're going with wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, Houston's finest. He is currently with the July ADP of 12.5, and he's wide receiver 9. Gabe, we will start with you this time, sir. Leaving the tab open, closing it out.
Can we just like stay a while and just, sip on a cocktail versus, I guess that's technically leaving the tab
Leaving it open.
That's
That's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah. Why do you have to make it so black and white? All right. I don't know. So I saw this on Twitter today from Tim over at UTH and the Fantasy Tilt podcast at Tim NFL on Twitter. Go and follow him. No. He didn't say this on Twitter. He said it. He was saying it in our group chat. And he said that DeAndre Hopkins, he'd rather have him as his second wide receiver or a wide receiver 2, whatever, versus his number 1 wide receiver. And I'm kind of with that. I'd rather trust someone else like an OBJ or a Mike Evans or an Amari Cooper or I guess like an Julio or an AB, someone like that versus Hopkins. I think it's pretty overpriced for me. I do like Deshaun Watson. I think it's going to be a better situation. I don't think he's going to get as many targets as he did 2 years ago when he broke out. But I think he can definitely have – I don't think he's going to have stud seasons like top 5 wide receiver seasons, but I think it's pretty reachable for him to get in between that 10 to 15 range every year. So I'll leave it open.
Ish. Leave it open-ish. Clint, off to you, sir. Leave it open, close it out.
At where he's going.
At where he's going, correct.
Yeah. At ADP of 12 or the 9th receiver off the board, I'm closing out. Here's why. I would rather have Sammy Watkins. I would rather have Des Bryant. I would rather have Doug Baldwin. Would rather have Alshon Jeffrey and Jordy Nelson.
Okay. What?
I
You just named you named several guys. DeAndre Hopkins has at least done it before. Like, I'm not a huge DeAndre Hopkins believer, especially not for 2017. But if his quarterback situation ever gets figured out, I think he's a top 5 wide receiver talent in the NFL. And he's 25 years old. Like, he's got plenty of time to hopefully get a quarterback on that team at some point. So, if you're a guy that you can get, he's being drafted, like you just said, 12 something, right? So if you get him and another wide receiver to start off your draft, maybe you get a guy like Dez, like you just mentioned, or a guy that has this year potential. Or if you're drafting for the future and you have that in your in your mind, DeAndre Hopkins is a decent candidate where he's being priced. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but you just named a bunch of guys that offended me.
Hey, that's fine. But here's the thing. I think Watkins is more talented than Hopkins. And if he stays healthy, granted, it's health. I understand it's all about health with Watkins, but I think Watkins and Tyrod are better than DeAndre Hopkins and Watson or Savage, whoever you throw out there at the quarterback position at Houston. Des Bryant, I think he's criminally undervalued at 13. And so I would rather have Des Bryant as my number 1 receiver over Hopkins. I still want Hopkins on my team, but I want him after that. Doug Baldwin, the same thing. Doug Baldwin has been so good for 2 years in a row and continually just gets devalued, and he has a great quarterback. Yeah. Keenan Allen has a great quarterback, and again, it comes back to health. And then you have – now, the one that I probably need to backtrack on a little bit is Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey's done it without the best quarterback position, like help. And so that's why I believe in him. But if it were, that's the closest it gets for me. I would rather. I mean, Jeffrey and Hopkins are really close. Hopkins probably edges him because of age, and I was probably just jumped the gun a little bit to say Jeffrey and Nelson. I think I would have Hopkins higher than Jeffrey and Nelson, even though I like Nelson a lot just because of his quarterback. When I look at quarterbacks to the receivers, the elite quarterbacks add a ton of value to the receiver I'm looking at, and Aaron Rodgers is just too good to ignore.
Very interesting stuff. And I think another thing to add to that, when you bring up Watkins and Hopkins, I think they're both immensely talented guys. And didn't they play together at Clemson? Weren't they there at the same time? Couple of just
Martavis, DeAndre Hopkins, and Sammy Watkins were on the same team at one point.
Just supremely talented. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Just supremely talented guys. And like you said, if they can get a guy and if they can just somehow please get a quarterback to some degree, somebody, if it's Watson, great. But for him not to be incredibly valuable right now as a wide receiver like one with his skill set, something's wrong. Anyway, moving on. Fugazi, what do you think, sir?
Yes, sir. So for me, I like Hopkins. I've liked him for a long time. Well, with where he's at right now, this comes down to the quarterback situation. Michael Salfino at Yahoo put out an article recently with a drafting style of 0 bad QB. And the whole idea is to avoid players on teams with bad quarterbacks or potentially bad quarterbacks. And I'm not down on Watson, but like if he starts, he's a rookie. I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in him to do great year one. So where Hopkins is being drafted right now, I'm going to close that tab.
What about if it's Savage? What if Savage gets the nod?
Man, I think I would still close it. I would rather buy him later in the year when he's rough and people are even further down on him. Than,
there you go. Right there. Yeah, I like that. Sorry, I got excited about buying him.
All right, Christian, I know you piped in early. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that with Hopkins?
He is priced right around where he should be. So that's why you got a lot of these from everybody, because it's a kind of like you'll buy it. For me, I'll buy it begrudgingly because I think you're not getting really a value. I'll keep the tab open, but it's right where he should be. Especially in a dynasty, like if you're thinking in any other format, yeah, he's not worth that price. But in a dynasty league, he's so young. You have the hope that maybe Watson could turn into something. So we've seen Hopkins be elite before. He's an elite talent. You just hope that the quarterback situation can get figured out.
Good deal, Gabe. I've got 2 more. You think we can run? You think we can do that?
Quickly.
Good deal.
Let me grab a beer.
Hold my beer.
All right, guys. So we'll stay with the receivers. Another guy that's been ballyhooed about of late. One, Mr. Martavis Bryant. Speaking of size speed freaks, speaking of
great
Clemson, speaking of just awesome talents. 25-year-old wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. July ADP of 46.5, 46.5, going as wide receiver 25. Keeping in mind, obviously, the scared to deathness of the fact that people are worried about Ben Roethlisberger possibly retiring and Josh Dobbs being the man there afterwards. What do you guys think? This time, hey, Christian, we'll start with you this time. Leave it open, close it out. Clint, I will get to you. Relax.
I love Martavis Bryant. I love Martavis Bryant. So this is gonna hurt. I'm closing the tab on Martavis Bryant because this is the example of a player whose ADP is now surpassing what his ceiling will be. He has a ceiling of a wide receiver 2, right? But when you have an ADP of 25 and you have a guy who's had a history of getting involved in problems and at any moment can be suspended for a whole year again, like I don't want to deal with that. So he's being drafted at 25. To me, I have him ranked right around there. So I think he'll finish there. But his ADP has just been climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. It's just not worth it at this point.
There's going to be at least one game in the preseason where he just goes up and mosses somebody.
And his ADP is going to go inside the top 24.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll jump another 10, 20 spots, and it'll just be, oh, snap, Martavis Bryant, wide receiver 1. Clint, I know you can no longer hold back. Let me have it, sir. Leave it open. Close it out.
I'm going to shock Gabe and say I'm actually closing it out too. I love Martavis, and I'm so excited. But here, I agree. You have Antonio Brown. You have Le'Veon Bell. You have a certain cap on what Martavis can do. Now, the thing I love, I believe it was J.J. Zacharyson in his pods talking about when Martavis is in the offense, it's not that it puts a cap or dents AB's numbers or even dents. It actually raises the entire offense, but there's still a cap to what Martavis can do because AB is the elite number 1 guy. Le'Veon Bell is going to get his, but Martavis is still going to be a solid wide receiver too. The reason I love Martavis is because I bought him months ago when his ADP was beyond 50, when everybody, like right when he came back from suspension, nobody believed in him. And so I was just scooping him up everywhere. And the other reason I love him is because I do think he can still develop into something even better. And maybe he moves on to another team. Maybe he morphs into the number 1 on Pittsburgh. Who knows what happens? I think where he is right now, I close it out, meaning I would take him right where he is, but no higher at all. I would take him right now at 25, 26, 20. That's right where I rank him. But if he climbs any higher, I don't take him at all. And I look to see, I still think he has the makings of being a wide receiver 1, depending on what happens in the next 4 years.
Good deal. Just to give you an idea of ADP of the next 5 guys up in front of him: 24, Tyreek Hill; 23, Terrell Pryor; 22, Demaryius Thomas; 21, Stephon Diggs; and number 20, Jarvis Landry. You got, so I know you guys both said you're closing him out, but do you like him better than those 5 guys? Hill, Pryor, Demaryius, Diggs, Landry.
I like him better than Hill, Pryor, and Thomas.
Okay. So you're basically saying if he goes any higher than 22, there's no way you're done.
Yep.
Good deal. Gabe, what do you think?
Yeah, I had no idea that his ADP was at, what'd you say, 46?
46 and a half, yep.
Oh, my God.
Wide receiver,
like,
25.
It was like a month ago that it was like 66, wasn't it?
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know. That sounds a lot better to me, the 66. So
Right.
it's a lot of risk going in for a guy like that. I truly believe in the talent, 100%, but I really, really believe in Antonio Brown's talent. Like, I think this dude's going to stay around until he's 32, 33 catching footballs. I don't care who it's from. I'm just worried about more Antonio Brown than anything else. And he doesn't get injured. He takes care of himself. He's signed the extension, the contract, and he's going to be around there for a long time. It's not a situation where Mike Wallace was leaving. He went to the Dolphins, and then Antonio Brown steps in. All right. This is Antonio Brown's court, and Martavis is just there to complement. And the Steelers don't put up 2 wide receiver 1s like ever. I'm going to go out there and say ever. I'd have to go back and look at some wide receiver 1s for when, at least when Ben is quarterback. But I don't think that's, especially with Bell there, I don't think that's really realistic. And so just the price, man, it's too much for me. I'd much, and dynasty football, fantasy football is just all about timing. And to get him right now is just completely incorrect for me. You can wait this season and he can be his wide receiver 2 or whatever the hell he's going to be. And he can stay kind of stagnant, whatever, but maybe get him at the same price. But get him when you think Antonio Brown's going to leave, because it's not anytime soon.
And just for context, like you were saying, June's ADP for him had him at wide receiver 51.
100.
That's what I meant when I said it's climbed way too much.
Yeah.
That's
what, 25,
okay.
26 spots in a month. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fugazi, what do you think, sir? You closing it out with the rest, or?
Man, nah, man, I'm a be contrarian on this one. I'm gonna tell you why. Because sometimes in life, you have to believe in something that is ridiculous. And people who come back from suspensions, stereotypically, bad things happen again. It's like a high probability that they don't last. But I've been following Martavis since winter. I've been watching his workouts. I've been seeing what he's been doing off the field. I mean, as much as he'll show or as that's reported. And I'm excited. I'm excited because he's saying he's never worked out like this before. He's put on pounds of muscle. The coaching staff has been raving about him. Like I'm excited to see what happens. It's hard because I can't honestly say I would buy him at that spot. But where I have him, I'm going to keep him. I'm not going to sell him because I got him so low and I'm excited to see what happens. But just for sake of being contrarian, I'm going to keep that one open.
So you like his value at the moment, not necessarily for what you can get for him, but for what you think he may become or be.
Yep. And I would take him over Jarvis. I would take him over Pryor. I wouldn't take him over Diggs or DT. I don't remember the other guy you said, but
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I would take Martavis over Tyreek.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Last one, Gabe. I promise I'll stop boring you. Last one here, and this is
I
an
just need
interesting.
a beer. That's all. Just need a fucking beer, John.
Treat
Sorry, Colin.
yourself.
I'm getting
yourself.
sassy. I'm calling you John, not J Mike. So
Hey man, put yourself on mute and go treat yourself. Last one here, and we're gonna go quarterback. And there were several names I like a lot in terms of I think they're interesting discussion points. However, this is the one that we're gonna go with. So, a Mr. Dak Prescott, Dakota, if you will.
God.
Dak Attack, Dak and Coke.
Nice.
July ADP of 106. July ADP of 106, and he's the number 10 quarterback, number 10 QB for July. I'm not sure who hasn't gone first this time, but Clint looks like he's about to pee his pants.
Yeah.
Clint, go for it, man. You leaving it open with Dak, or you closing it out?
You ain't cool
I can't
unless
tell.
you pee your pants.
Okay, so, man, I was so excited to talk about Dak, and then he's number 10 off the board, and that, golly. I mean, here's the thing. I love Dak Prescott, and if you look at, Scott Barrett puts out some amazing quarterback stats, and if you talk about like quarterbacks under pressure, you talk about the accuracy, you talk about yards per attempt, like all of those things, he ranks right up there with the top 5 elite quarterbacks right now in his rookie season. And that just doesn't happen. He had a historic rookie season. That kind of season doesn't happen. Now, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, he had that offensive line and he had that running back and he had those. I get it. He had all that stuff, but he still did it. There are plenty of quarterbacks that have had, good situations that they go into and they're just miserable. I don't think it's all because of the talent that was around Dak, because Dez wasn't healthy the whole year. I don't think Dez was even himself most of the year. Zeke is amazing, yes, and that offensive line was good, but Scott Barrett's stats are about when he faces pressure, which means the offensive line failed. Now, he had more time before the pressure got there, but the pressure still got there. And so his ability to still be able to adjust when pressure gets there, maybe it changes if that pressure gets there half a second sooner. I don't know. I just know that with what he had, I'm not going to penalize him because he had a great situation and say, oh, well, he obviously isn't as good as he could have been. He was amazing. Now, so do I keep it open or do I close it?
Yeah. Get to it.
Wrap it up.
I'm keeping it open because here's why. Would I rather have Dak Prescott or Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins, or even Drew Brees in a dynasty? I would rather have Dak because Drew Brees, how many more years does he have? Kirk Cousins, that situation is a mess. Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton is overvalued. I just do. I think that he is an excellent QB1, but I don't think he is an elite QB1. I think his, 2015 season was an outlier, or 2016 season, whichever season where he was just bananas, was an outlier, and the season we had last year was more in line with what you're going to expect with Cam, which is really good. It's just not top 5. I think Dak has the potential to be top 5.
And that's incredibly interesting that you say that, because never mind. Just for context, what last season, what he did, he was 23rd in attempts last year. Dak was 23rd in attempts, 23 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So the efficiency was crazy. And he only threw for 3,667 yards. So you're thinking, man, he only throws for 3.5 stacks. And so you think that there's nowhere to go but up. But hey, is the efficiency still going to be there? That's interesting. Fugazi, what do you think?
Man, I'm get one of the top guys or wait till towards the end kind of person, especially with QBs. So I'm going to close that tab. I think that with the more volume, his efficiency is going to go down, and offensive line losing a little bit, and Zeke might be being out for a little bit. There's just some questions there, and I would rather wait till later and grab somebody like Dalton or Rivers, and just ride with that and feel good about that.
Got you. Christian, what do you think?
Not close that tab fast enough. No,
Just
nothing.
no.
I want the quarterback position is so replaceable. And so you mentioned, guys like Drew Brees, right? Because we're talking about a dynasty league, but I want to win now. So I don't think Dak Prescott is my best option to win now. And the thing is, with the quarterback position, it's so deep that I can change it frequently and via trade, via whatever. Like, you can get a better option, especially for 2017 at your quarterback position. The Cowboys are not going – they don't have the same offensive line they had last year. They're still great, but it's not the best offensive line in football. If you think that Prescott is going to have a nearly 6-to-1 touchdown interception ratio again, you're out of your mind. That's not going to happen. That is just a statistical anomaly.
But he did it in college too. That's the thing. It's not like that. It's not like it was an outlier. I mean, that's the thing. The interception, the touchdown or interception ratio for Dak, that's what he's historically been, even in college. He doesn't throw picks. I agree with you that the efficiency is hard to replicate, but the fact that he's done it before, that's what is so intriguing about him. I agree with everything you said about waiting on quarterback too. I totally agree. I'm just saying right now, I think he has the potential to make that jump quicker than most quarterbacks and to stay there for a long time.
To argue on your side, I guess, for a second, quarterbacks now are coming out into the league more ready than ever, right? Jameis Winston, first couple years, you're throwing for 4,000 yards every year. That's something like I mentioned earlier, Flacco's only done once in his career. So, yeah, he's came out, he's ready. I think his upside's limited, and I think his year in 2017, just specifically this year, I know we're talking dynasty, but just specifically this year, is going to be worse than last year. I think that offense in general is going to take a small step back. So I think you're better off placing your chips somewhere else in dynasty this year.
Yeah, I respect that. I could see it happening. I just haven't seen a rookie perform the way he has. And so I know the sophomore slump is sitting there, and I have him in a couple teams, and I'm worried about that. But maybe he doesn't have one.
And it's interesting because you say you're drafting him at QB 10, but last season he finished at, I think, QB 6. I'm pretty sure he was top 10 somewhere, pretty close to top 5. I think it was QB 6.
QB 6.
Yeah,
and
right.
I got him in a trade where I traded Justin Forsett for Dak Prescott and Josh Ferguson.
Oh.
Good
You
grief.
even asked for some juice, jerk.
Forsett's retired and Ferguson's on restricted. No, he's just straight up free agent, right?
I think so.
Ferguson is reincarnated as Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
2.0.
So that's a fantastic trade. Well, if he can get Dak Prescott for that, yeah, then keep the tab open.
Well, I mean, that was preseason. That was preseason last year, so of course. But yeah, it's tough because I like him better than QB10, but I agree with you because I'm also a late round QB guy for the most part in one QB leagues. So if you're talking about in how I'm drafting right now, in all my startups this year, the only place I have Dak are in two QB leagues. In my startups, I'm not taking him at QB10 because I wait for QB, not because I don't think his value is appropriate. I would just rather wait.
Fair enough.
So I don't think J Mike is going to address me, so I'm just going to address myself. But I don't have to answer the question. I just wanted to say one thing because it kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson and his rookie year when he came out and did what he did, and he's been that QB1, for the past 5 years, and last year seemed bad, but he still ended up as a QB1. So. I was curious while y'all were talking, I kind of dipped back into DLF's ADP back in 2014. That's as far back as it goes. So that'd have been Russell Wilson's third year, going into his third year, where he had already finished as QB9 and QB8. And he was QB11 going into the 2014 season, his third year. So I'm curious what it was in 2013. I would imagine it was a little bit lower, maybe like QB 13 or 14 or so, and he bumped up a couple spots. But so just kind of with, I guess, that argument, I think that Dak is a little bit overpriced, and maybe he should be more of that Russell Wilson range, or maybe he shouldn't, in that he's going to be Russell Wilson, but just in comparison, that's where he was going. He was going as that top 15 QB. Now that he's going as a top 10 QB, like, yeah, sure, he can do it for 5 years in a row straight, like Russ has. But just kind of from that argument, as far as trends go, I think it's a little overpriced.
And that is your first edition of Dynasty Bar Tap. Good stuff. That was good stuff. I enjoyed that very much.
That was cool.
Fantastic.
Way to bring that to the table, J Mike. That was a good game. And did any of those come from the YouTube chat at all, J Mike?
No, I was not quite. Just in terms of just buzz over the last week or so, in terms of various stories that came out, various things that were popping off. I just found those names interesting, and when I went through the ADPs, it was like a lot of names, like another guy I wanted to talk about, but we can do this another time. Allen Robinson's right behind Nuke Hopkins. So it's like, I mean, I feel like those guys lit 2015 on fire, and then in the exact opposite way, lit 2016 on fire. We're just like, screw it. No thanks.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
We're done
You can
here.
basically say the same about Robinson that you can for Hopkins, probably. I'm sure it'd be very similar. Sort of.
They're back-to-back in
Not
ADP,
players,
I think.
but
Yeah, they are. Exactly. You're exactly right. They're back-to-back in ADP right now. So which begs the question, at least for those listening, if you guys have names or whatnot that you guys want us to talk about with this, hit us up on Twitter. You know the handles at this point. If you don't, you'll hear them by the end of the show. So yeah.
Yep. Or in that YouTube live chat, we're active on that as the show is going. So people are watching that. I don't really know where to find it. So that's, I'm just here to drink beer and talk football, but that's why I have a co-host at this point. I think it was kind of going off the rails and I needed someone to actually do something professional. But yeah, so hit us up, whether that be on Twitter or in the YouTube chat, and we can play that little game, whether it's every week or every other week or whenever the hell we feel like it. It's drinking games, We should have included a drinking game, by the way. I don't know how to incorporate that, but we will at some point.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. All right, let's close this out though. We're gonna get in trouble. We're drinking past 2, or at least in Montana. That's illegal. Out in Miami and New York, you can do whatever the hell you want. In Vegas, you can do whatever the hell you want, but we can't do that. Okay. We're in different places. We have to respect the rules. So let's close this out. I'm going from left to right. Clint,
you can find me.
Tell us about yourself
on Twitter at Fantasy Pastor, and then all articles, which are not a whole lot, but a few of them are at thedynastyhappyhour.com, and also rank for them and run their Twitter account. So that's where you can find me. Hit me up on Twitter. And yeah, it was good.
Awesome. Christian.
Sorry, guys.
Calling all Christians.
Oh, sorry. Had a little lag there, guys.
Sorry, say what?
What?
We had a little lag there for a second. I don't know what was going on. But eatsleepfantasy.com is our website. You can see our podcasts, and all our writers and articles are on there. You can follow us on Twitter. We're very active, probably because it goes straight to my phone. And at eatsleepff is where you could do that.
Yeah, and shout out to you guys. You guys started last year, and you've just ramped it up. Y'all are kicking butt, and so good job. I'm glad y'all are on the show today.
Love
Thank
the
you.
pod. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's a little
Great
silly, but I
podcast.
love it. Yeah.
All right, Fugazi.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter at ff_Fugazi. You can find articles I write at fakepigskin.com. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been fun.
No doubt. No disrespect to the Chris Fugazi.
Christopher, yep.
Christopher, yeah. No
Big
worries.
homie Chris.
I don't know, man. Screw that guy. I'm just kidding.
You better not come around here talking about you. I know that much.
Man.
All right, and last but not least, the co-host, J Mike. What do you got?
Yeah, buddy. At JMikeCheck on Twitter. Absolutely just loving what we've got going. This is a ton of fun. Love talking football, love fantasy, brand new to the dynasty scene. So I'm learning as I go. So I'm thoroughly enjoying the knowledge, enjoying the fun. So hit me up. Yes. At JMikeCheck.
Word up. And I am at Grab Bag Fantasy. Jay, look, you're going to have to I haven't told you this yet, but this is news to you probably. I've told Tyler. You're the solo co-host? The solo host next week.
No.
So,
Hey, man, I ain't signed up for that. No.
so third episode in, we're going to line them up. We're going to get plenty of guests. I'm going to be out. I have some marital duties to attend to. Look,
man, if that's
it's just
the case,
been a while, guys. It's just been a while. That's all.
if that's the case, I just want to make sure that I'm getting your salary for the show as well.
You're gonna have to speak to my people about that.
Have my people get with your people.
And the sponsors, all the sponsors.
All the
Oh, yes.
Yep. Shout out to liquor.com. Free plugs all around. I just think that would be great. Like, why wouldn't they for the open bar, right?
Yep.
All right. But so tune in next week. I'm sure you'll triple, quadruple the viewership. I'm excited. I'll try and peek in, while I'm actually really gone because it's my anniversary with wifey.
Whoa,
so
happy
Congrats,
anniversary.
man.
it's special.
How many years?
3 years.
There you go, Fugazi. Cue that Tony.
Oh, yes.
You are in the music biz, Fugazi. You're right.
Word.
You're no phony.
Well,
all right.
though.
All right. Yeah, at Grab Bag Fantasy. I got the Grab Bag Fantasy pod. Hit me up on Twitter. I need some guests in the next few weeks, and I got some cool things planned with some cool people. You're definitely going to want to get on the show, so do it already and get on my show and stuff. All right, I need to go drink a beer. What do you guys say? I'm going to cheers with this empty can. We will see you all next week. Shout out to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast network for doing this for us. Let us cheers to the camera and be all weird with it. And
Salud.
Salud.
80s montage.
All right. We will see y'all next week, and deuces.